financial situations has hit
an all-time low.
And artificial intelligence pose a threat to the human race.
The results will be catastrophic.
Devastating changes.
What if I was to tell you your entire life, your entire paradigm, was being weighed down by a lie? And that lie is making you tired, it's making you sad, and it's making you sick. Right now, you are systematically viewing the world wrong, and it doesn't need to be that way. I believe this is the most important idea of the 21st century, and when you understand it, everything changes. And it all starts with 3 questions. Extreme poverty in the last 20 years. Did it double, stay the same, or get cut in half? Next, how many kids worldwide get basic vaccines? Is it 80%, 50, or 30? Deaths from natural disasters over the last 100 years, did they double, stay the same, or decrease to less than half? The results from these questions may surprise you. The first halved, the second is 80%, and the third is decreased to less than half. If you're like 90% of other people, you got these wrong. And to understand these results and what they mean for us, we need to rewind the clock. Humans have existed for 300,000 years. Every single one of these dots is 10,000 years. This is our entire history. For 99.9% of our existence, things were very different. 50% of children died before 15. Humans had a 30-year life expectancy, and we were in a constant battle for calories. This tittering along the edge of starvation meant any changes to food production led to widespread famine. El Nino in 1877 saw 50 million people die. Healthcare, vaccines, antibiotics, none of this existed. In fact, in 1836, the richest man in the world at the time, Nathan Rothschild, died with an infected abscess, something easily treated today. But 200 years ago, things start to change. After hundreds of thousands of years, humans start seeing progress. Global poverty rates start to decrease, basic education, literary rates start increasing. And you may think this is 200 years ago. It doesn't matter. But this progress doesn't just continue, it accelerates. Throughout most of our history, 50% of children died before 15. By 1950, that number was 1/4. By 2020, it had fallen to just 4%. In 1950, 65% of people were malnourished. In 2000, it was 15%. Today, it's 9%. And in 1990, there were 2.3 billion people living in extreme poverty. In 2025, that number is 808 million, with 3 billion more people alive. These are wild successes of human progress, and no one is talking about it. And I'm not saying the world is perfect. I'm saying the world has improved. And knowing this is empowering. It shows the power that we have as a species to make an impact. And if you're like me, you may be skeptical of what I've shared. This completely transformed how I view the world. I started asking, why does everyone not know this? Well, let me explain why progress is invisible. When trying to survive, our species reacts faster to negativity. If we found a carcass of meat, we'd survive for a week. If we were eaten by a tiger, we'd be dead forever. The value of so many platforms that we use is determined by how much time we spend on them. So they promote a lot of negative stuff. Think about that. These companies are worth more the more time we look. And humans will look more when we see things that are negative. Of course, the worst aspects of humanity are louder than progress. This news site only ran positive news for a day and readership declined by 68%. Another example of negativity bias. Progress rarely happens in a straight line. If we look at this graph, it's clear that it's trending upwards. But look at how many headlines could be created around things that have gotten worse. The headlines of progress don't get written. And that's why we don't see headlines of factually correct positivity. Our minds don't care and the platforms don't show it. Just imagine how different we'd feel if we saw this progress in the papers. For example, did you know that in 2025, in just one day, 118,000 people were driven out of extreme poverty? But it goes even further than that. In the whole of 2025, every day, 118,000 people were driven out of poverty. But guys, it goes even further than that. Over the last 35 years, since 1990, on average, 118,000 people have been driven out of extreme poverty every single day. Our worldview is based on the loud negativity, not the silent progress. We're living in a time where we're over-informed, but we're undereducated. And unless we actively seek out the real facts, we'll be viewing the world wrong. At the beginning of this video, I asked you 3 questions. Swedish health researcher Hans Rosling asked these to over 10,000 people. The results? They're not pretty. Not only are we wrong about the world, we are systematically wrong. You, watching this right now, you are systematically wrong about the world. You think it's worse than it is, and you're oblivious to unbelievable progress. This is making you tired, sad, and sick. Not knowing human progress starves of us hope. It takes away the agency to make an impact on the world. It stops you living the life that you could live. And for the record, I'm not saying the world is perfect. It's far from it. But 3 things can be true at the same time. The world still has extreme challenges. Globally, still 4.4% of children die before 15. That is not okay. The world is much better. In the past, this number was 50%. The world can be much better. In the European Union, child mortality is 0.47%. There is room for improvement. All of these can be true, but if we aren't aware of the progress we've already made, the cloud of existential dread is a little bit bigger and a little bit darker. But why am I making this video? If you watch this channel, you'll see YouTube growth expert, you'll see how to grow online. And you may think the topic we spoke to you about today is unrelated, but I disagree. I've been obsessed with YouTube for 8 years now, and I absolutely love the platform. My career started by sneaking backstage at festivals with a bin bag, and that saw us travel the world and make amazing money and these amazing experiences. And throughout that whole period, I just remember thinking, when else has any of this been possible? When we look back on the history of humanity, it's not 50 years, it's not 30 years, it's 10. The platform that you're watching this video is just 22 years old, and there's so much opportunity we've just never had before. When I started reading about human progression, I was mind blown that any of this was true. I felt this deep gratitude inside for living in this time and for everyone who'd worked tirelessly on improving the world. I felt inspired to add to that. The world is not perfect, I know, but if we look at the data, it's never been better. And I think you'll live a happier life for knowing it.